Hello everyone, and this is my review for Monday Night Raw on August the 15th, 2016, and what can you say? They might as well just have given SummerSlam away on Raw, and I'll talk about all that as we go through throughout the entire thing, because there's a couple things, at least some of their bigger points, and some of their bigger potential matches. It's like, we'll just give away the best parts of it tonight. So let's go ahead and start on some of the other stuff. The first match they did for the night was Sami Zayn versus Sheamus, and Cesaro was on commentary. You had a promo from Sheamus beforehand. Relatively good match from both guys. I found it thoroughly entertaining. Obviously, since last week Sheamus interfered in the match with Rusev, this week Cesaro interferes in the match with Sheamus, and well, this leads to a very interesting thing, because obviously this leads to Sheamus losing the match against Sami Zayn via the hula hoop kick. Okay, so they're having like a heated exchange, heated words backstage. It looks like they're about to brawl again in this case, and Mick Foley gets in the way and basically saying, it's like, the two of you really want to fight each other? Okay, I'm going to make a best of 7 series against you guys. I'm thinking in my head, these guys put on good matches. I'm sure it will be good, but this means we get probably 7 more matches of the 3,000 we've already seen. Okay. Hopefully they put something on the line here, like somebody gets a title shot or something like that, somewhere down the road here, to put some more emphasis behind it. The first match is going to happen at SummerSlam, which, again, it's always weird to have the first match on the pay-per-view itself. You would almost want this to be like on a Raw or something like that, between the two of them for their first match. But the first match is going to happen at SummerSlam, and this is going to start their series of matches, of a best of 7 matches. You had New Day going up against the Dudley Boys, and Gallows and Anderson did another one of their little doctor promos, basically doing the whole bit this week, like, oh, they're trying to do tests and trying to cure ring post-itis and everything like that. It's like, okay, these guys are making it work. They're really good on the microphone. They're making it work and everything on that in that aspect. So they get cut off after they put one of the eggs in the microwave, and New Day has a match with the Dudley Boys, which they win rather quickly. It's like, again, the Dudleys are kind of becoming the nostalgia act here, and they are not necessarily in any kind of favor in any kind of matches in any way, shape, or form. So after the match, the Gallows and Anderson, they do their bit, like, the egg explodes inside of the microwave and everything like that. So it's like the club doing this aspect of the silliness, and then the New Day brings in the serious side. So New Day's playing serious, Club is playing a little bit silly. So they're kind of reversing roles. Not a bad promo here from everything that I saw there. You had Nia Jax up against local talent. They're continuing on the jobber interviews beforehand, which I'm absolutely loving. I'm absolutely loving that they're doing this. It's like, okay, they're giving them a little bit of mic time or a little bit of something to try to put themselves a little bit over before the match and before they get destroyed. Not a bad way of going. I actually kind of thoroughly enjoy that. Nia Jax goes over rather quickly in this match. So still enjoying those kind of jobber aspects that you have with Strowman and Nia Jax. This week they have Nia Jax. Strowman doesn't show up on the show, so maybe they're going to be flipping roles to try to not overexpose these two for the time being. You have Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. They are coming out to do a promo, and lo and behold, before the promo even starts, Heath Slater comes out. And, you knew where this was going. It was eventually going to lead to Heath Slater getting destroyed by Brock Lesnar. But the promo beforehand, with Paul Heyman, doing his shtick against Heath Slater, and Heath doing his thing too, and doing it quite well. saying it's like I've got kids to feed, so that means I have to fight Brock Lesnar, and everything in that sense. It eventually leads to Heath trying to get a shot in on Brock. He completely misses, gets destroyed, and then Heyman goes into his typical shtick, which was a great promo leading into the SummerSlam match with Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton, and that's pretty much how that segment ends. You've seen it. Paul does some crazy promo, good promo to hype up the match, hype up his guy, and semi-hype up the other guy to go along with it. And it came off really, really well again. And the whole aspect of Heath Slater, like promo-wise, was looking strong in this one. Obviously gets destroyed because, well, it's Heath Slater and Brock Lesnar. Yeah, that's going to happen. So, like I said, overall, not a bad segment for this portion of the show. Up to this point, I would have to go off and say there's a good chunk of Raw that I would say I didn't necessarily like. The whole aspect of them still going with Sheamus and Cesaro and a few other things going around was one of those things like, okay, we're seeing this again. Like I said, Sheamus and Cesaro is going to be, the matches are going to be fine, but it's like we've seen it. Let those two be elsewhere. Unless, of course, they have some kind of title match on there. So we'll stay away from that for the time being. You had it advertised as Sami Zayn, or not Sami Zayn. I've already talked about Sami Zayn and Kevin, and not Kevin Owens, but Sheamus. But it's Kevin Owens versus Big Cass. So you had beforehand Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens doing a promo over on Big Cass, like trying to put down Big Cass and Enzo. And also a good portion of their shtick is changing up Tom Phillips' name to be something completely different. I think they ended somewhere around Brian for Tom Phillips this week. Relatively good promo from both Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho here. The match with Big Cass with Kevin Owens, it ended in DQ. It was okay. It wasn't anything necessarily special, but it was an aspect of getting Kevin Owens and Jericho over as a team, and they left Enzo line before the match ended, and then they took out Big Cass after the match to go along with it. Relatively good segment in terms of story. Match was it was all right. It wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, so not a bad segment to go along with everything there. Let's see here. Where do I want to go next? Just for the sake of also throwing it out there, there's a couple other matches to go through. You have the Golden Truth versus the Club. The Club wins that one rather quickly, and then the New Day attacks the Club after the match, and they set it up to where they were going to basically injure Carl Anderson by using the trombone to hit him, well, the same place Big E got hit. So, but Luke Gallows pulls him out of the way, and that was their final stare-off going into the SummerSlam show itself. So, not a bad way of going in that sense. You had the Primetime Players versus the Shining Stars. And since, Titus O'Neil and Darren Young have been fighting over the last couple of weeks, you know what's going to happen here. Who didn't see this coming? And it's like, really? Who didn't see this one coming with Titus O'Neil turning on Darren Young sometime during the match? They have a little miscommunication. Darren Young accidentally hits Titus O'Neil. Titus O'Neil uses Clash of Titus on Darren. Shining Stars win the match. And that feud continues. Actually, kind of glad they did it this way this week, because otherwise it would have just meant them having another match. So, you don't have to worry about 50-50 type booking there. It's like, no, you had this tag team match, and it's like, oh, we're going to get back together. No, we're not. Okay. And then you had Jinder Mahal against Neville. Neville wins the match. With that being said, it wasn't that bad of a match, but they've kind of sorry. They already kind of relegated Jinder Mahal to jobber status, and he just got back on Raw. So he's jobbing out to at least Neville in this case. Though they are continuing to build up Neville, which I would assume be for when the cruiserweights come in. I have a feeling Neville's going to be one of those heads of the cruiserweight division once they get it going on Raw here, whenever that ends out happening. So, where are we going to go next with this? Okay, here we go. We have a backstage segment with Charlotte and Dana Brooke. And it looks like, Charlotte's just telling off Dana Brooke and saying she's going to get rid of her and everything like that. Of course, this ends out being a complete ploy because you had the match with Charlotte going up against Alicia Fox. Charlotte wins that match rather quickly, calls down Sasha Banks. It looks like those two are about to have a stare-off. Dana Brooke comes rushing in, and Charlotte takes out Sasha's knee, locks in the figure 4 and figure 8 for a little bit. So they're trying to play it off that, Sasha's going to go in injured to the SummerSlam match. Not a bad little story piece there. You had Sasha up on commentary throughout the entire match to go along with it. Not a bad job on commentary. Actually, both sides, like with Cesaro being on commentary and Sasha being on commentary, wasn't that bad tonight to go along with it. So again, not a bad segment to go along with it. And like I said, good story piece going into the SummerSlam match between Charlotte and Sasha. So we'll see how they play off of that, or if they play off of that at all for the actual match itself. So this is going to bring me into the main points of the night. Like I said, things that, they could have saved for SummerSlam would have looked really good and everything. Let's just give it away on Raw. The week before SummerSlam, too. So throughout the entire night, you had Seth Rollins searching for the Demon King. Basically searching for Finn Balor, but looking for the Demon King variation of him and everything. Like, you had him outside, he was cutting a promo outside, he was looking through the backstage, he went to Stephanie and Mick Foley's office and everything, and eventually Foley's like, why don't you try to call him out to the ring? So Seth Rollins goes out to the ring and cuts a rather decent promo again from towards Finn Balor and what's going to happen Sunday and everything, and calling out the Demon King side and everything in that sense. It's like, oh, he's not scared. And then eventually, the lights go down and the typical demon-esque music, like the different variation of the Finn Balor start, pops up. And I'm thinking in my head, it's like, are they really going to show the demon side of Finn Balor on Raw the week before SummerSlam? This isn't a good idea. Yep, they're doing it. Yeah, they went ahead and they painted up Finn Balor for the night. And, in the end, it got what they needed. They got good crowd reaction and everything, but seriously, it's like, you tease this. You tease these things. It feels like you should be teasing them to want people to tune into SummerSlam and watch it and do this and everything in that aspect. And then they give away probably one of the better parts of it, the entire match, outside the fact of they didn't do the full match or anything, but one of the better parts of the match on Raw. Why are you doing this? Why? Why would you do something like that? Though, in the end, like I said, the segment was like a give and take there. And it's like, why are you giving away the demon portion of Finn Balor on Raw for the first time? But also a pretty cool segment. It did what it needed to do in the end. So, again, a little bit of give and take. I don't necessarily like it on the aspect that, like I said, they gave away the demon entrance on Raw, like right before SummerSlam. Like, you could have saved it for like the special occasion for SummerSlam and everything in that sense, but they give it away on Raw. But it is what it is in that case. Up next, because I think we've gotten to everything else on there. Yes, we have. I'm taking a quick look at my notes. I wanted to talk about this last, even though it starts at the beginning of the show, but it ends at the end of the show. They have Rusev start off the show tonight. Start off the show on Raw, and like he and Lana start cutting a promo saying like, we're not leaving, we're gonna hold Raw hostage until Roman Reigns apologizes, which brings out Mick Foley. So he's trying to get them out, and like Mick is getting berated by Rusev the entire time. Like, this is really good promo stuff. Good heel heat from Rusev's side. This eventually brings out Stephanie McMahon, and it's like, okay, this is where Stephanie goes full heel. No, she doesn't go full heel yet. She actually backs up Mick on this one, and they and it's like, you know, basically the only reason why they had Stephanie there was like, I support Mick Foley and everything, and all of his decisions, everything like that. Otherwise, like, no real need for Stephanie to be there. So again, it was an interesting spot for the segment, but I guess they're gonna go with an aspect of, you know, heels going after Mick Foley and saying that he's incompetent as a GM or anything like that. So they're going to be going that route again somewhere down the road, and this is kind of that start of it. This does eventually bring out Rusev. He basically cracks a few jokes about basically same jokes as last week against Lana and Rusev. And he gets in the ring. They kind of have, and then once he gets in the ring, the intensity kind of gets in there. So you have Rusev and Roman kind of staring down everything in that sense, and it's getting to the point. It's like, Mick gets in between them and says, "No, you're saving it for SummerSlam, the U.S. title match." And like Rusev's like, "This is more than U.S. title match. I want to defend my wife's honor." It's like, I want a match with him tonight. Premise is good. But again, it's a week before SummerSlam. Why are you giving away one of the matches on the card on Raw? And with that being said, it was a damn good match between the two of them at the end of the night. You had Rusev attack Roman Reigns backstage to kind of play up even a little bit of an injury angle to go along with it. But the match between Roman and Rusev, hard-hitting, really good, a lot of fun to watch. Save it for, damn it, SummerSlam. Why don't you save this for SummerSlam? This is giving me the indications like these two had a good long match here. It was very hard-hitting between both of them. Teases with finishes and everything on that. Why don't you save this for SummerSlam? It gives you that indication. It's like, oh, this is going to be the good match, and now SummerSlam is just going to be whatever in this case. So that kind of irked me. Like, the match was a damn good match and everything to that aspect. But it's like, why are you doing this right before SummerSlam? It was just like, well, even though they kind of even though Roman got injured before the second match, like when they were setting up for Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns the first time around a couple of years ago, they had a match on Raw, and then they were supposed to have the match on the pay-per-view, but then the hernia injury happened, which stopped that match from happening. But they did it again here. Like, Roman's supposed to have this big match with Rusev at SummerSlam, but they do the match on Raw right beforehand. It's like, yeah, it irks my brain a little bit. It's like, really, they would go that route there. But like I said, it was a good match, but again, should be safe for SummerSlam, not here 1 week beforehand. In that case, especially since they already had the match announced. If they didn't have the match announced, different story. But they already have the match announced, so it's like, again, why are you doing this in that sense? So with that being said, Raw was a give and take. Raw was definitely a give and take this week. You have two of the spots that would have been probably best saved for the pay-per-view just given to you right there on Raw this week. And it's like, I know they're in the network portion of everything, and people pay for the network on a monthly basis, but still these events that show up on the network should still feel special to in every sense of the word. And this is supposed to be the second biggest event of the year, and they give away two of their good spots from the Raw side right there 1 week beforehand, and it just like, okay, how is this going to make people want to watch SummerSlam in that sense? But overall, in that, as a show by itself, fairly entertaining. But like, what did it do to set up SummerSlam? Because you gave away good portions of it right there. So, like I said, it's a give and take this week with Raw. And that's pretty much all I've really got to say fully in the end about it. So that is my review this week for Monday Night Raw. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.